If you've ever walked away from your child or your teenager's meltdown and thought to yourself, why did I just hit them again? Why did I just scream at them again? And if you are desiring a deeper, authentic connection with your child or your teenager where they willingly follow your leadership, you got to remember that you are not broken, you are not a bad parent, and you are not failing at life, nor are you failing at parenthood. We were born into this world, and then we were taught by society and family and just this world, we were taught that meltdowns were, needed to get punished. When you have a meltdown or when you're crying really loudly, you're supposed to get hit, punished, or scolded or screamed at. That it's not acceptable to express those type of emotions. Stop acting like a baby. Shut up. Be quiet. Be quiet before I give you something to cry about. A lot of us were programmed to believe that this is normal and this is a beneficial way to communicate with people. We were taught that this is a beneficial way to communicate with children. And a lot of us were taught this because what our ancestors and those who came before us were not taught was how to sit with and stay aware of emotions and thoughts. So instead of sitting with their emotions and their thoughts and taking a full responsibility and accountability for their own emotional state of being, for their own emotional and self-regulation, they would instead project the sensations, the anger, the rage, whatever emotion they were feeling that was uncomfortable. They were programmed and conditioned to project that onto children. So we were taught to do the same. And so oftentimes our children, when they are triggered, it's solely because they're attached to something, attached to staying up instead of having to go to bed, attached to running around and playing instead of having to go, take their shower. They're attached to the TV, the iPad, they're enjoying it and they're attached to it. So when we tell them they have to turn it off, they process. They are processing the best they can from their level of awareness, being told they have to turn off something or stop an activity that they are attached to. Do you remember when you had to process breaking up with your first boyfriend or your first girlfriend? You had to process. You were attached to them and you had to process. And that processing for some of us looked real ugly because it was very uncomfortable. We were very attached to them, right? Some of you know what it feels like to have processed a divorce because you were attached to that marriage, to that union. Some of you know what it's like to have to process giving away your money, having to invest your money in groceries and bills. Sometimes adults, we have to process because we're attached to the money, right? So let's not act like we don't know what it's like to be attached to something. When our children are having meltdowns and tantrums, they are processing. They were attached. So even though we were programmed and conditioned to shame children for the way that they're processing the moment, even though we were programmed and conditioned to hit children and scream at them and shame them and even be mean to ourselves when we're processing, we may have been taught that, but you can unlearn it. And you can give yourself permission to remember that it's okay to feel whatever you're feeling and to practice sitting with whatever you're feeling. And the more you practice that for yourself, the easier it will be for you to create a safe space for your child to process where they know they are unconditionally loved, even if they're processing an attachment. So the next time you feel the urge to spank, beat, or hit your child when they're having a meltdown or a tantrum, remember to stay aware of the thoughts and emotions arising within you. Stay aware of them. Stay aware of all of the programmed thoughts that those who came before you may have thought in those moments. And then let the peace of your awareness take over and guide your next steps. Follow for more parent empowerment. And remember that you are powerful and capable of more than you can possibly imagine.